Welcome to the Power 365 show. Today we've got Michael Vakoc. I think that's how you pronounce his name, but hey, I don't come from his part of the world, so I've actually got him to say in the show the correct pronunciation of his name. Anyhow, he's a brilliant young guy that's just, so switched on when it comes to Power Virtual Agents. I was glad I was able to connect with him, get him on the show of this new product. I've had a play with it. It is amazing at how quickly you can set your bot up and get it online. I embedded it into my website, WordPress website, in no time at all. After, publishing it to their demo environment, I was able to get it into production. And so if you haven't had a chance to work with it, or you think it's a good fit for your business, go and take a look in the show notes. We'll put all the various links to the resources, to how you can get signed up and get using it today. And of course, they'll be found at nz365guy.com/166. Anyhow, let's get on with the show. Michael, welcome to the Power 365 show.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Well, I can see you've got a fancy last name, and I don't want to get it wrong. So what's your full name?
So it's Michael Vakoc. There is supposed to be like a little accent on the end, on the C.
What country is that from?
Czech Republic.
Czech Republic. So how long have you been living in the US?
Almost 2 years now. Yeah.
Wow.
I've moved with Microsoft. So I worked for Microsoft in Prague, and then I moved here.
So interesting to say that. Microsoft in Prague has got quite a big office, right?
That's true. Yeah. So there's a development center. We actually also have some Dynamics for marketing there. There are some folks developing that. Martin Kostal, he's leading the development center there. And then there is a huge presence for Skype and Teams.
Wow.
So there is 3 products, substantial presence.
I heard the team for marketing was around over 300 engineers there or something.
That sounds about right, yeah.
Yeah.
And the same numbers would be for, combined Skype and Teams. So it's a pretty substantial office.
Yeah, that's incredible. So just tell me, I love Prague. I haven't been there much, but I have visited and love the city, love the culture, love the heritage, architecture, all those type of things. What are your favorite things around Prague?
I think it's, and especially now when I come back to visit, I come to appreciate it even more and more, just to go through downtown and enjoy, the vibe of the city. And it's very, you can just feel the history of what has been going on there. And I have came to appreciate it more and more because I grew up in Prague, so I didn't, necessarily appreciate it as when I was younger. But I think now it's just amazing to see that. And of course, the beer. You appreciate the beer too. Yeah.
I did a full food tour while I was there, and they took us to a big beer hall. Was part of that. It's actually started our food tour, which was, man, it was amazing. And I think, is it Hemingway? Have you ever been to that bar, Hemingways? Of
course, man. That one is good. Yeah, it's pretty hard to get to.
I arrived in from London and probably landed at about 11 o'clock at night, and the first thing I did was went to Hemingways because it's just its reputation,
That's right. That's cool, man.
It was good, man. So tell me, what brought you from Prague to the United States?
Yeah, so as I said, I worked for Skype there for about 2 years. I did my internship back in the days. So when I was still in Prague in college, there was an internship opportunity at Skype. So I did an internship there. And then after school, I started full-time, worked there about 2 years. And then there was an opportunity to work on Teams in Redmond. That's what brought me in, actually, the Teams opportunity. I worked for Teams for Education. So what we did is we, integration with learning management systems like Canvas and so on, and how to bring that to Teams. So that was really the trigger.
Very cool. Very cool. And have you left all your family back in Prague, or do you have family over with you, or what?
So my parents and my brothers, they're all still back in Prague. So I left them there. We still meet up pretty often. We just went to New York for a nice family trip. So it was cool. And now I live in Seattle with my wife.
And just to get a bit personal, is your wife American, or is she from the Czech Republic as well?
She's neither. She's from India.
Oh, wow. Okay. And did you meet her at Microsoft?
I did, yes. She works in a different team. Yeah.
I love it. So cool. I didn't realize that you had a background in Teams. And so I'm just going to ask you a little a digression question there. And if you don't know it, like, that's fair enough because you might not. But, at the moment, if you want to use Dynamics 365 in Teams, you can do that. But you can't use native CDS, can you, just yet in Teams? Is that right? As in from building an app directly into it?
So yeah, I don't know that. I actually haven't tried it yet. So I wouldn't know.
It came up in the conversation today, and so when you mentioned Teams, I thought I'd just riff and see if you did. Anyhow,
but I would say if it's not supported yet, Teams is a super big growth opportunity for everyone. So I'm pretty sure there is someone thinking about how to support the full experience so that there's no limitations.
Yeah, exactly. So how did you transition from Teams into Power Virtual Agents?
Yeah, that's a good question. So I actually worked with someone who then transitioned into Power Virtual Agents, who was also working on Teams, and he was building his team in Power Virtual Agents, and so then he reached out to me with an opportunity. So I joined his team about earlier this year. It was before Power Virtual Agents went to public preview, which happened in June. And actually we went, I don't know if listeners, I think there might be some confusion, right? Because we went to public preview as Dynamics 365 Virtual Agent for customer service. But in Ignite, which happened around a month ago in November, we announced the rebranding to Power Virtual Agents and becoming part of Power Virtual or Power Platform. So yeah.
So yeah, that totally makes sense. And product names change, right, as things evolve, and nomenclatures like the word Power has been rolled out. We saw it with Power Automate changing at the same time. So not unusual. But one of the subtleties of that change was it was formerly targeted in that phase as a customer service thing, but now it's actually available directly to CDS, right? So anybody can use it as part of apps that they build.
That's right. Yeah, so basically the reason why it started off a bit like a customer service solution was because it's easier to focus on one specific area to prove a concept. We did it very successfully with our public preview feedback that we heard back. And so it was very clear from the beginning, but the vision was always that this is going to be useful beyond customer service. So we started off there, but that's definitely not where we wanted to end long term. So this was always a vision to evolve it into a platform play, so that you can use it for any sort of chatbots that you could use in your applications.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Did you ever, I don't know if you would have come across it based on your time at Microsoft, but a product Microsoft purchased some years ago called Parature. Are you familiar with that?
No, I haven't heard that one.
Okay. It had this kind of, a lot of IP that made up customer service around particularly the knowledge base and handling cases. The way they're handled now it was IP that was acquired from that product. And they had a kind of it wasn't a virtual agent, it was a live agent type configuration in that environment.
Gotcha. So it would be more similar maybe to Dynamics 365 Omnichannel Hub.
Yeah. So I want to drill into that just as I've hit that point in my virtual agent that I've set up called NZ Bot Guy. I wanted to change the name of it, but it won't let me change the name of it, will it? I have to start a new bot. Is that right?
We will bring this feature at some point. We know about this. There's a lot of people complaining that they are not able to rename the bot.
I have a mate, and in the same industry that we're in, and anytime something gets boring, he goes, "Listen, I don't see any dragons in it, so I'm switching off. It's bored." And so I was like, "Yeah, I want to rename mine to the NZ Dragon Bot or something like that, just to make it a bit more lively." Yeah. Anyhow, we digress. What's your role in Power Virtual Agents? What's your involvement?
Yeah, so as I said, I'm in one of the two product teams. So we basically have two main product teams, or two product teams which build this. We kind of try to the way how we are structured is we think about the personas that use the product. So one team is really focused on the people who create the content and alter the content itself, and then there is another persona which is the person who manages the bot itself and multiple bots, and who kind of does the more of a bot manager role as well as admin kind of experiences. So I work on the admin team and bot manager team, and personally I worked on the licensing and the onboarding for that system. So the SKU or the actual product that we shipped on 12/2 when we had the GA. So I shipped that SKU for that people can actually purchase it.
Wow. Okay. And so this is the $1,000 for 2,000 engagements or something, is it?
That's correct. Yeah. So it's 2,000 sessions, build sessions, what we call. And the way you think of it, it's basically the way we designed it. It's the entire interaction that on average you will have with a bot. So it's as long as you talk with the bot, it doesn't matter how many topics, how many intents you would talk about. It's the one unit.
Yeah, so it's kind of like active sessions, right? Once you kill that, fill out the survey at the end type thing, that would consider the termination of that chat, right?
Depends on how you build the bot, but even if because for example, the default, like the way how we saw some people build it is that put a survey after each topic.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
So if you have that, but you hit multiple topics in that one session, it would still be considered as one session. So it's more of a time-based kind of unit. So we have two limits. One is time and one is turns, which are more of it's like a prevention kind of system. It's not really what we expect from data that we saw people to hit. So just think of it as one conversation with the bot. That's kind of what I tell people. Yeah.
Yeah. So just tell me, what do you mean by turns?
So turns is what we call, and I apologize for the nomenclature, right?
That's all right.
We are so deep every day in it.
Yeah.
that I just assume people know. It's basically one interaction with the bot. So think of it, one turn in our conversation, right? You ask me a question, I respond. That would be one turn.
Right. And so do you have kind of like, based on your data's telling you, an average bot interaction would have X number of turns?
Yeah, we do have that, yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah. Okay. So now you're responsible on the bot admin / manager side. Therefore, and then the other team is responsible for the person. Are you talking about branching the stream as well as creating the kind of knowledge base articles that potentially been interactive with? Or is the bot admin somebody that would basically model out the entire conversation path based on triggers?
Yeah, so it really depends. We see all kinds of approaches that people take to designing their bots, right? And I think we get a bit to the personas that create a bot. So what we have seen with some companies that we have worked in the past, big companies that have used kind of sort of version 1 of this product, which was very similar to this Power Virtual Agents implementation, is there is designers, content designers that actually go and develop that content itself on a high level structure, and then there is subject matter experts who go and actually fill in the details because they know it the best, right? Yeah.
Okay, so that makes sense to me. So just so I'm clear, the bot admin manager experience, would they take what the subject matter expert had written out and the content designer had done, and would they then actually drop it into the application?
Exactly. Yeah. So
Gotcha.
we have you can deploy it. We have multiple channels. I think it's north of 10 actually. We support the same channels as Bot Framework because we are built on Bot Framework. So we support web chat. You can just put it on your web. You can put it into Teams. You can put it into Facebook Messenger, and many other channels where you can just deploy the bot.
Yeah, when I deployed my bot the other day, I was impressed at how many channels were already loaded that you could drop it into. And, I lit it up against WordPress. I want to see it. It's actually still live on my blog now, and a few people have interacted with it.
Awesome.
It doesn't do much, but it was just for me, giving it an education lesson to myself on it. I just found it so easy and smooth to use. It's and I was impressed by the number of out of the box channels that were available. Do you have an appetite to grow those number of channels, or should I say, grow the sophistication around how those channels will be supported? And I'm talking about the publishing channels, right? Not the ingestion channels.
Correct. Yeah. So we definitely are looking into both. We are looking into how to make it even simpler so that you can publish it on Teams or Messenger super quickly. At the same time, we are looking at more channels, like native support for SMS. That's something that we would like to bring at some point. Yeah.
No, very cool, very cool. So for those in our audience that are listening, can you explain what Power Virtual Agents is?
Yeah, totally. So first of all, I think I would let everyone know that we are publicly available now. So you can just go on our website and you can sign up. Anyone can sign up for a trial, and they can try it yourself. So it's best to see for yourself. You can just go to aka.ms/trypva. But to explain what it is, right? So if I start from the user benefits and how we think about the end users, so think of it as a no code way of how to build chatbots.
Nice.
And so you don't need any code, as you have experienced for sure when you are building your bot. And as you said, it's super easy to do so without any hard setup. And that was always our goal. But the beauty that we see in that is that not only you can build a chatbot which answers your questions, but thanks to the integration with Power Platform, it can also take action on your behalf.
Right.
And so because we collaborated very closely with Power Automate, you can call anything from Power Automate to kind of any connectors that they have already built. You can invoke it from the conversation. So any CDS interaction, Azure DevOps, you name it, all that is possible using the chatbot and using conversational AI to do so.
Wow. So that's very interesting. One step back from that, tell me about the expectation, if you like, from the customer nowadays when interacting with a business. Let's say they've got a website or something like that. In the past, the minimum a business website would be a contact us form. And often that doesn't cut it anymore, right? People want their questions answered right now while they're on your digital assets in some form. So, Michael, tell me about what the interest is from a customer perspective. Like you would have done your research as into what customers are demanding in the market, and what are you seeing?
Yeah, so I think what we are seeing is a shift in general from having a website where you can find information yourself if you dig really deep. But as more and more information is just available out there, it's really hard sometimes to navigate the websites, right, and get all the information. So what we see is that on specific use cases, a conversational interface is much more efficient to go to where you need to get, right? So if you imagine you have a company, right, which has a website, and there is hundreds, thousands of actions that you can do on the website, right? So instead of you having to go and navigate where you want to actually go and find that action, you can just talk to a bot and say exactly what you want to do, and that bot is gonna do that search for you, and not it's just gonna surface you the content, but it's gonna also take the action. And that's the second important thing that we see from the customers that they demand. And that is, again, goes back to the integration with Power Automate. And that is the bot needs to take an action on what the customer is asking, because it's not very helpful if you just answer a question. If you answer a question about returns, people are not interested hearing this is the return policy, go click here and do that, right? They're interested in actually completing that return inside of that conversation and finishing up that session.
So when I first saw the bot framework, it was some years ago. Satya actually had somebody come up on stage in New Orleans. I was at the time demoing the bot framework, and it was around a pizza ordering scenario. Are these virtual agents something like that you could actually place an order with, or are they more information virtual agents that are designed to give you access or get access to the right information as quickly as possible, rather than becoming a full kind of like commerce-enabled experience?
No, you could totally do that. I mean, you could, thanks to Power Automate, you can take, so as I said, right, with the refund, let's stay in that example. It's easy to just, authenticate the user. We support customer authentication, so the user can authenticate into the canvas, into the chat canvas. So you know the identity of the person. Once you know the identity of the person, you can fill in you can get their order history. You can see what they ordered. And then you can ask which of the items that they recently ordered they want to return.
Mm-hmm. Wow. Okay. That's cool.
So it's as simple as that. Yeah.
Yeah. So tell us a bit more about the relationship between Power Virtual Agents and Power Automate.
Yeah. So the relationship, think of it as two tools that work very closely together. But you really, if you're the end user, you think you are interacting just with the bot. You don't really know that there is Power Automate in the background, who the bot author, who was able to use it to take the action. So what that means is, if you design a dialogue in Power Virtual Agents, you have these nodes, what we call nodes. And one of the nodes, for example, is a question, right? So just a question and an answer. But one of them also can be a trigger to Power Automate. So what it does is you trigger either you build a new Power Automate flow that you want to use, or you just go in there and you build a new one for that particular need. And there is a native integration that just makes it super easy to call Power Automate, where you can already leverage I think over 270 existing connectors to access your data. Access the data in CDS or any other system that you have used.
So tell me about the CDS story then, because as we discussed before, the dependency for Dynamics 365 was removed, right? So now apps can be built directly onto any CDS instance. Is that right?
That's absolutely right. Yeah. So to build a Power Virtual Agent, you actually need a CDS environment. Because we store the bot in a CDS, which will come handy later on when you want to package it as a solution and so on, and just move it around. And so, given that you already have a CDS, you can build a bot in that CDS. You can access data in that CDS environment, and so any customer data that you have there, you can either edit, you can insert, you can delete, etc.
So what you just said there, are you saying, or just correct me if I'm wrong, but it's fully solution aware? So these can be packaged in solution and run through an ALM process?
So this is our vision. I think at this point in time, it's not yet fully solution aware.
Gotcha.
But it's certainly something that customers are asking for, and we hear that because it's just such a big part of the ecosystem solutions. So that's really something we are working on.
So tell me about the supportability for the finished apps in Dynamics 365. Will you release kind of like that are like, let's say you did have customer service and you're using the knowledge base in customer service, will you release kind of a version or a templated version of the Power Virtual Agent specifically for that? Or will it automatically connect just as another data source, and the individual or company would need to stitch up the relationship between the knowledge base in customer service, Dynamics 365 customer service?
So we are always looking into how to integrate with other products at Microsoft, and this is a very interesting scenario that you mentioned there. It would be possible to achieve this through some integrations if you wanted to, but there's so many things to do that we could do. We really try to go after the most common scenarios. So one example of similar, I think, case what you can do actually with the bot today is you can point just the bot to an existing FAQ page that you have, and the bot will automatically parse that page. It will extract all the information and all the questions, and then people can interact with that content as a bot, and you don't have to do really much.
Wow, that's very cool. That's very cool. Okay, I didn't realize, I haven't got that far with it. One of the other things, that, just understanding those people working with the bot, you've talked about two personas, one persona being the admin or manager of a bot or multiple bots, and then you've talked about the content creator and subject matter experts that would add the content to how, for the bot to interact with. Any other personas involved in your mind?
Yeah, I would take a step back here, right? And I think what we saw in the past when we did some deployments with customers, with big customers, is when you want to build a bot, and that was before Power Virtual Agents, right? It was a standard bot building tools. Is you would need developers, you would need designers, you would need data scientists, you would need subject matter experts in order to really build a bot, right? And the person who was kind of who we realized, or who the team realized before even I was part of the team, was that the subject matter experts are really the people who know the content the most and are the ones who need to be able to, and who want to be able to update their content, right? So in the past, what happened was you had to, if you were a subject matter expert and you wanted to update your bot, you had to go and give a item to a backlog, into a developer's backlog, right? Who were supporting not just your bot, but probably 20 other applications in a company. And it took a long time before they got into this to your item and were able to update it, right? So if you had a crunch before Christmas, like is now, relevant, you would have to go and persuade them to really update whatever you needed in a topic. But now what the power is that really, as we kind of focused on these subject matter experts and the citizen developers, as the term is used in Power Platform, is they can do it themselves, and they can do it in matter of minutes, right? They don't need. We also provide one thing that I didn't mention yet is we provide built-in analytics. So
right, yes, exactly.
Actually, you have deployed your bot, right?
Yeah, I saw Power BI as built in, and it lit up straight away. And then the more interactions, I noticed that all came to life very quickly.
Exactly. So now you can see exactly how many people have interacted with the bot. You can see what they were asking about, and we also provide metrics on how well they are satisfied with these. Yeah. Exactly. Things that you provided, right? So through the surveys that we have some built in, you can see which topic is doing the best and which topic is perhaps people are not very satisfied with. And that really empowers the subject matter experts to do the job of all these other people. And basically they don't need the whole team and rely on a data scientists to create a data dashboard and pull data. To do all that, you can do it yourself.
Well, one of the things that Paracha had in it was this concept of case deflection. So, for example, the bot gets the correct answer, so therefore there wasn't a need for somebody to interact with a call center or support desk or something like that. Are you measuring case deflection or having some metric around that if this wasn't resolved here, it would have gone to a support call? Yeah,
and we do actually. We do have we call it escalation rate. We don't call it deflection, but what basically is you can escalate it to a human agent. We also the other outcomes that we measure is resolution rate, right? Which of course is a metric that you wanna optimize for that, because that means your bot was able to resolve people's questions and you didn't have to engage any human. And then we also have a metric for abandoned rate. So that tells you how many people just weren't very satisfied probably with the topic or didn't get the right help, and so they just left. And so just coming back to this escalate topic, this is a very interesting, I think, point, which we didn't talk yet about. And that is, you can build a bot which, has 20 topics, but there is still something which you might not be able to fully automate, or you might not want to fully automate. In that case, there is a simple configuration that you can do currently with Dynamics Omnichannel, Dynamics Omnichannel Hub, and you can transfer that directly to a live agent. And that live agent, they will see the full history of what the person was chatting with the bot, right? So I just recently had a very bad experience. It was with one retailer. I chatted with their support, and I chatted with a bot first, right? But I wasn't able to get to my answer. And then I was deflected to a human being. And I was like, okay. And the human didn't know what I wanted to...
Didn't have the history.
Yeah, they were like, oh, what is your problem? I was like, okay, I just spent 5 minutes talking with the bot, right?
Yes.
So that's what we are trying to kind of help and improve.
Yeah, because something like that can create so much frustration for a customer when they're just like, I've just explained that to your organization. Yes, it might have been a bot, and now you're asking me to do it again. Like, it's very frustrating.
And think about it, right? The customer is not thinking that, oh, it's super complicated to build this. Mm-mm. They don't see that, right? They see exactly as you said. They see one company. I'm talking to the same company. Why do you not know?
Yeah. Agreed. So what type of industries are you seeing adopt the technology now, or even what are you targeting? Specific industry personas? So,
of course, we started as customer service, right? So we see a lot of interest from customer service. But beyond that, we see a huge interest for internal-facing bots, which is almost caught us by surprise. But a lot of companies want to improve their processes internally. And I think as companies grow and they face more and more questions from their employees, they want to build something automated which can help them either with onboarding or even later on with their being in the company. So even, if you want to learn what is your vacation balance, you could do that for a bot, right? So we see that, and beyond that, we see sales, we see marketing very interested in using the technology to enhance their experiences. Yeah, I totally see it working in that space. What do you do around the scenario that the bot gets to a point that it doesn't have the answer? For whatever reason, let's say a subject matter expert didn't write anything for that particular question, or the person asking the question might have used a nuance of language that didn't allow it to flag against a particular response. How do you kind of pick up those and also uncover the patterns so that you can make sure, hey, we actually need to go and write something because 5 people have asked the same question and each time we've not had the correct answer because the supporting data is not there? Do you have any way of making sure you're capturing that so your content creators can go back and rewrite the missing information based on the customer demand? Yeah, and that's a very spot on question. So number one, we have 2, I would say, ways how we try to tackle this. One is thanks to AI, right? You basically, when you build your topic, you choose to write a number of example utterances that the customer would use to trigger this topic. But you don't have to list exactly everything that the customer will ask. So we use AI to match the intent with that topic. So based on if you talk about let's say you have a topic about your phones, right? And so you can just say phone, smartphone, etc., right? But then the customer says, oh, I have a problem with my cell, right? The AI would recognize this as a phone and would help you kind of align that and lead that to that topic. But the other point, I mean, of course, sometimes it happens that even we are not super sure what the customer meant. So we have another stage where the bot is going to ask, oh, did you mean this or did you mean that?
So then would it update its intelligence to if that phrase was used again in the future, that it knew what it meant?
That's a point we are working towards, and it's something definitely it will do in the future. So it's always gonna be enhancing the, as you said, you basically in this case you would just train the bot, right, for this case, and that's something definitely we will get to in the near future.
So how much does AI play into the Power Virtual Agents product?
Yeah, so we have multiple kind of areas where we leverage AI, but the kind of the underlying thought that we operate with, or the principle that we operate is, we don't want our customers to really care that there is, AI used. We want to make it so simple to work with that they don't even need to learn any of the concepts of AI to actually use the technology. So one was just the entity or the intent recognition, right? So you can just write a bunch of utterances and it will know what you're talking about. But we also have, for example, a feature which is called Entity Smart Matching. And so that was the example that I talked about with the phone. So you can basically define a bunch of entities in your dialogue.
Yes.
And so you want to learn about what color the customer wants their car, right, in. And so you define, in your catalog, you have, let's say, 5 colors, right? One of them is pink, if somebody wants a pink color, right? And so if the customer goes and he said, oh, I want a magenta color car, it would know and it would recognize it as a pink color, and it would automatically match that with it.
Wow. Okay, that's impressive.
Yeah.
So okay, and one of the things is this product, the Power Virtual Agents, like Power Ups, like Power Automate, where let's say the limit is reached by the citizen developer, right? They've done as much as they can, but they need to extend beyond it. Can a pro dev come along and take over and extend, let's say using cognitive services or something like that, or the bot framework? Could they extend what Power Virtual Agents is doing?
Absolutely. So we call this, we have a philosophy that we call Nocliff kind of approach. And so
I hate the term person. I hate the term. Okay, it's been around for a while, but I know what you mean. Yes, I tell you why I hate it, right? Just to digress slightly. The first time I saw it presented, it was done as a chart on a PowerPoint slide, right? Which is this theoretically no cliff, and it didn't run off the edge of the PowerPoint chart. There was a cliff at the end of it where they ended it before the edge of the screen, and I'm like, your illustration has a cliff, rather than it running off into the Never Land. But anyhow, I digress. But back to no cliffs, which is a standard part of the way Microsoft thinks about the Power Platform and the citizen development through the pro dev experience. You're saying this is fully supported in Power Virtual Agents?
Yeah, so we support it through what is called bot framework skills.
Yes.
So if you have already existing bot, or if you have some need which cannot for some reason be fulfilled yet in Power Virtual Agents, you can build a bot framework skill which you can bring in to Power Virtual Agents, and you can simply invoke it again from the authoring experience to take care of the topic which wasn't able to be fully built by Power Virtual Agents. And I think this is like also just to a little bit like step back. I think this is where the power of, working in Microsoft and working as one Microsoft, right, to deliver services really shines through, because entire Power Virtual Agents, it's built on bot framework. It's a bot framework implementation. And thanks to that, we can actually leverage bot framework to extend the bot in a very straightforward manner.
No, that's very good. Just one other thing I wanted to touch on, the licensing side of things. We talked around, $1,000 for 200. What did you call them? Sessions? Do you call them sessions?
Chat sessions.
Yeah,
yes.
chat sessions. Does that mean that I could create 50 bots? 50 different bots, and then they would all pull on that 2,000 chat sessions, right? There's not an individual cost per bot, is there?
Correct. You can create as many bots as you need for particular needs. I would be very interested in a scenario where you need 50 bots.
I'd be interested in that customer. Can you send them our way? Yeah, totally agree, right?
I would, recommend using topics more in that case.
Yeah.
But yeah, you can do it. So it's gonna be pulled across the bots that you create. In that, and one thing I would also like to highlight is, which we stress kind of with the rebranding, is you don't need any pre-existing Microsoft technology, basically, to use Power Virtual Agents. You can purchase it. If you purchase Power Virtual Agents, you automatically get provisioned CDS environment, CDS capacity, so you can build your CDS environment. You get with RSQ, you get the right to use Power Automate to extend the virtual agents as much as you like. So you don't need to purchase a separate Power Automate license to do that. So even if you don't use currently any Dynamics or even Power Platform products, you could use Power Virtual Agents. Nice.
That's very cool. It's very cool. Tell me. You touched on Omnichannel Handoff. How easy is it to set up that transfer to a live agent? Is it to do that?
Yeah. So I mentioned Dynamics 365 Omnichannel Hub integration. That one is a configuration setup. So it's a bunch of steps that you need to go through to set it up. It's not as we don't think it's particularly complex. I mean, of course, there is some things to create, but as a citizen developer, which is always our kind of bar, you would be able to do that. Now, you can also integrate with any other live agent solutions like LivePerson, etc. But for that, you will have to write some custom code or leverage their experiences to kind of integrate using the middleware into there, mainly for the handoff, for the contextual handoff, so that you also, transfer the handoffs and the customer doesn't have to repeat themselves.
Yeah. Can I give you a scenario and you tell me whether you think you could build it?
Let's do it.
Okay, so here's my scenario. I have Power Apps on my iPhone. Right, and I have a virtual agent on my website, and somebody, they want to get handed off to talk to me directly. Could I, using Power Automate and Power Apps and Power Virtual Agents, could I make it that, this is not an enterprise grade thing, but it would actually pop a notification on my phone. I could jump in and just start texting them backwards and forwards through Power Apps?
We could do the notification part.
Yeah.
I don't think there is a chat interface in Power Apps that we would be able to leverage to do that. So yeah, that would be my answer. But we can definitely do notification through Power Automate to extend that. Yeah.
Well, let's put a challenge out to the listeners and see who's going to be the first one to demonstrate a Power App using Power Automate through to Power Virtual Agents and it being a two-way conversation. Let's see if somebody can be really creative and come up with a solution.
I love that. Yeah, let's see.
Before we get on to some quickfire questions, is there anything else you want to add?
I think you know you you asked the right questions. So
it's good.
But I mean, as I said, like the product is out there. It's publicly available. Just go to aka.ms/trypba and check it out and let us know what you think. All the PMs on the product are very active either on LinkedIn, Twitter, or the communities.
Excellent.
So if you have any questions, just post it on the idea. We also have a community, so post it there. Or we have an ideas forum where you can just upvote, things that you would like to see in the product.
Yep.
And we monitor that daily. So
excellent. So you monitor ideas daily. They've got the Dynamics forums, the Power Platform forums, that there will be a channel dedicated to Power Virtual Agents that people can, and the community can get involved in Q&A in that channel. Is that correct?
Yeah, yes, exactly.
Yeah, fantastic. Okay, let's get on to some quick-fire questions. Are you ready? These are random questions, come out of,
All right, let's do it.
A different world. Okay, here we go. Okay, here's your first one. This is a deep question. What are some of your personal rules that you refuse to break?
Okay, I will never smoke. I think that's my rule.
Good.
I think this is fundamental. You couldn't.
Yeah. It's good. It's good. No, hey, that was a good solid answer. What was the worst haircut you've ever had?
Oh, so I have a funny story on that one actually. So when I was very little, I think like 6, 7, we decided with my brother, who was 2 years older, that we will do a haircut at home. We were like, it's not that hard. So we have hidden behind a sofa, and he has started cutting my hair. But my mom has interrupted us in the middle. So I ended up with just like half cut hair, which I wore for a couple of days after before I actually went to a hairdresser.
I love it. If you could compete in the Olympics, which sport would you choose?
Cycling.
Cycling.
I actually, a side story there. I did a lot of cycling, road cycling, when I was younger. I was in France trying to become a professional cyclist.
Wow.
Before I went to college, I had some injuries, so I had to go back to college. But my brother, he made it. He is a professional cyclist, and he actually did compete in the Rio de Janeiro Olympic Games in cycling.
Wow, that's epic. That is so cool. I'm glad I asked that question. Okay, here's your next one. What show on Netflix did you binge watch embarrassingly fast?
I don't know about a show, but I just watched Irishman. And that's a really good movie. I would recommend it. It's with Al Pacino and Robert De Niro.
Nice.
Awesome actors, really good. So it's a 3.5 hour movie.
Wow.
And I binge watched I watched the thing in one run. So really
The
good.
Irishman. I'll have to check it out. Would you rather not have arms or legs, and why?
Oh, wow. I think both would be hard.
Yeah, it's hard for you, right? Because you're into cycling, which uses your legs, but you're into coding, which uses your arms.
I think I would use my arms more.
Okay, that's good. Last question. What's something about you that surprises people when they first hear it?
That I'm from Czech Republic. Most people think I'm from Sweden or Germany.
Oh, wow. Well, very close countries, right? Very close countries.
Yeah. Still Europe.
Michael, yeah, it's still Europe. Is there anybody you recommend as a guest for the podcast in future?
It's a good question. I would recommend Omar Aftap, if you can get him. He's the GPM for Power Virtual Agents.
Yeah.
And he could tell you even more about, I think the future of the industry. His vision is amazing.
Excellent. I like it. Michael, it's been great to have you on the show. Before you go, if people want to kind of follow where you're blogging or social media, where can they find you?
So I'm on Twitter and on LinkedIn. That's usually where I'm present. Just Google my name with the social network and you should find me there. Just, shoot me a message.
Tell everybody your name again, first and last.
Michael Vakoc, and the last name is spelled Vakoc.
Hey, thanks for listening. I hope you enjoyed that show. My name is Mark Smith, otherwise known as the NZ365 guy. I try to do these podcasts, get 2 podcasts out or 2, 2 shows out a week, 2 episodes a week. Every Tuesday I do, every alternate Tuesday, I either interview a Microsoft employee, generally from the product team, and the alternate Tuesday I interview somebody from the community, whether the business side of Microsoft business applications or people that are, got their hands dirty at the coal face and working with the technology. The other show is on a Thursday, and it's where I interview the various MVPs in our community, talk about their journey, what they're involved in their day-to-day, how they became MVPs, and really, what does the world look like from their point of view, because there's not any 2 MVPs are not the same, right? They're quite unique, but they have some very interesting insights to the industry that we're operating in. Remember, full show notes can be found at nz365guy.com/166. I'll see you next time.